Now, among the targets that Vietnam's fisheries sector has set is aiming to lower the transaction cost of catfish exports to Europe. However, hardly any Vietnamese enterprises have the capacity to directly export produce to the European market. They still have to rely on foreign processors and distributors when it comes to marketing and labeling. The next report will bring you the details.
Vietnamese catfish can be found in supermarkets around Europe. However, all of them are labeled by European distribution companies, and it's difficult to see that Vietnam is the country of origin. Vietnamese catfish has to go through a host of intermediaries before it reaches these supermarkets. As a result, local seafood companies gain little profits despite the high price they are sold for in Europe.
Our customers are seafood importers. Their benefits are not associated with the quality of the products as much as its price. They are always looking for lower price produce, and consequently, Vietnamese companies have to lower their prices in order to sell. We can only change this situation if we find different customers, such as the final distribution point in the supply chain or the large European supermarkets and retailers.
Marketing is a weakness of Vietnamese seafood exporters, and most of them fail to focus on their anti-consumers in Europe. How do European consumers like their seafood to be packaged? How is seafood usually processed? These details are taken care of by foreign intermediaries, and that's why most of the profit ends up in their pockets.
It's very important to have a focus on the marketing. Before you used to have a focus on the production side. I mean, production is still very important. You have to look at the quality, but look at your consumers. What do they want? And to really also work closely with the retailers. And also have an influence on the retailers, so that you can market your product much better and maybe at a more expensive price, because currently the price is really down.
Unlike the United States, Europe does not raise a lot of catfish, so Vietnamese exports face less technical barriers and lobbying from European seafood producers. This makes it much easier to export catfish to the European market. The issue remains on how to convince European consumers to buy of high-quality, tasty, and easy-to-cook Vietnamese seafood. So local companies are now paying more attention to the anti-consumers in Europe.